Welcome back to Tech Yes City. This is Berenice coming back to you guys today with some relaxed gameplay footage over Heroes of New Earth. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about graphics cards and the right settings, because I've been getting asked a lot of questions in regards to my benchmarks and how do I get such high frame rates. And that has to do with a few things, but when I first started benchmarking games on my GTX 670, I had a 120 Hz monitor. And basically, I would want to get 120 FPS on any game regardless of the settings, because I loved the fluid motion of 120 Hz. However, when I started tweaking with settings, I noticed that there was a lot of settings in games that really you didn't need to have them set to the max, and they really had a huge impact on your frame rates. We're talking like 20%, and basically they didn't make the game look much better anyhow. The first setting I'm going to talk to you guys about is anti-aliasing, or a setting in your graphics settings called MSAA. And now this setting, essentially, it makes the game look smoother. The higher you set this, I think usually eight times is the max. However, the higher you set this, the better it makes, or the more, I guess, the more smoother of a picture. It takes away the jaggies on the picture and makes the game look smoother. And it is a good setting. However, I find it has a real big diminishing return after 4 times. And the difference, if you go from 4 times to 8 times, and you can test this on any game, you'll notice that the frame rates will drop a heap if you go from 4-speed to 8-speed MSAA. Now, I usually have this setting around 2-speed, or I use a setting called SMAA. So essentially SMAA is I guess it's a better version of MSAA. I love to use it as it looks just as good as 2-speed or 4-speed MSAA. However, it doesn't have the performance hit of either 2-speed or 4-speed. So it's a good setting. If games support SMAA, I recommend you turn on SMAA. However, if they don't, then I usually stick with trusty old MSAA on 2 or 4 speed. So that's the first setting you guys should watch. I mean, if you've got a graphics card like a GTX 780 or a GTX 780 Ti or an R9 290X, and you generally don't have to worry. I mean, generally any game at Ultra is fine, but if you're on a mid-range card like a 270X or an R9 280 or a GTX 760, then you may want to play around with this setting and get the best frame rates and get the smoothest experience out of your graphics card. Because I mean, generally a lot of people from time to time, they'll get their graphics card, whether it be a GTX 760 or whatnot, and they'll install it, max the graphics on the game, and then they'll be like, oh, this game sucks because the gameplay is choppy. And generally it's not the game's fault, it's just, I guess, what you do with the frame rates. So yeah, mainly you want to get the highest frame rate possible that your monitor outputs. Usually most monitors output 60 Hz, so you want to generally be getting around 60 frames per second for the best gaming experience, in my opinion. So let's move on. So that's the first setting that you guys want to play around with, is MSAA. The second setting that you guys may want to look at is Ambient Occlusion. This one I find is a big killer of frame rates. I noticed even in a game like Black Ops 2, this setting would kill my frame rates by about 10 or 15%. In Crisis, it's called lens flare, I believe. This setting, yeah, generally it just takes away a heap from your frame rates, and it does make the game, it does give it that realistic feel, but it doesn't make the game look better, in my opinion. So Ambient Occlusion is one of those settings that if I can't afford the frame rates, I generally switch off first. I do that before MSAA, so maybe you might want to switch this off first if you like your MSA or your SMAA. So anyway, that's the setting. That's a big one. You should turn it off if you can, or turn it on low settings. I mean, if you've got that 780 Ti and you just don't care, that's not going to worry you. But if you're on that mid-range graphics card, look out for this setting. And the third setting I wanted to talk to you guys about is obviously the textures and the quality of the models and the 3D modeling and stuff like that. And generally you want this as high as possible. You want this on ultra if you can, if not high, or even medium, depending on your graphics card. So this is the last setting that you should sacrifice, in my opinion. But if you need to get those higher frame rates, then definitely drop this setting down and drop it down to medium or high. In my experience, especially with a game like Battlefield 4, for instance, I don't notice a big difference between ultra and high. It was weird. Though the frame rate, it gave me an extra 10-15 odd percent when I switched it from ultra to high. So that's something you may wish to play around with depending on your graphics card. So there, as it goes like this, order in priority, switch off Ambient Occlusion if you need extra frames, and then play with MSAA, and then play with your textures. That's just my recommendations to getting the best gameplay out of your graphics card. Now, I am talking to you guys on the... so I just want to talk about a few different things besides graphics now, because a lot of you guys probably want a quick update. I am recording off the Zoom H1 now. It is connected to my computer, so it is acting as a condenser microphone. So let me know how that sounds in the comments. I also wanted to talk quickly about LEPA power supplies, and damn, I have had 2 LEPA power supplies fail on me now. This is like consecutively. So wow, stay away from this brand. They're called LEPA. I just did a power supply review for that power supply. The first one was dead on arrival, and the second one, it was working. However, it's starting to cut off. It's starting to my computer started randomly cutting out. I checked all the connections. Everything was fine. Everything was good to go. I reconnected everything, reseated the RAM, whatnot, you name it, I did it. And then the computer was still cutting out. And it wasn't until then I'm like, okay, I'm going to put my trusty Antec Earthwatt 650 watt bronze in there and see how we go. And I've put that in there, and I've been running it for a few days, and yeah, lo and behold, my computer has not been switching off. So this is me getting 2 power supplies now, one after the other, the same power supply, LEPA G800M gold rated power supply, and it's failed on me twice. And the 650 watt power supply hasn't missed a beat for years. So LEPA, you guys are making trash power supplies. Like, I don't know what you're doing. I mean, if they're from Enemax or if they're from Channelwell, whatever, but you guys aren't quality testing your products, clearly, because I've got 2 power supplies that are dead now, 2 power supplies that are faulty, and that's consecutively one after the other, and that's sealed from the factory. I've never had that in my entire life. I've never had a part come, and then it's faulty, and then I've got a replacement, and that's faulty again. So, I mean, wow, what is going on, LEPA? What are you guys doing at the factory that's making these power supplies not work? So my advice is to stay away from this brand. If you're thinking about buying a power supply, make sure you cross LEPA off your to look list. So don't just cross that brand off completely. Just don't put that in your power supply. You'll be in your power supply cart or whatever. Seriously, stick to Seasonic, Antec, or Corsair. I mean, Corsair use Seasonic anyway, I think. So, yeah, you want to stick to the trusted brands that have been around for years. That's what I've realized. And I ain't going anywhere but Seasonic or Antec personally. So, that's just my advice for you guys. Yeah, LEPA, stay away from this brand. My God, what 2 for 2. Holy crap, I've never had this in my life, so I had to tell you guys about it. Seriously, it was terrible. The last thing I wanted to talk about too is actually hooking this microphone up as well. There's, I looked for a 3/8 of an inch bolt to a 1/4 of an inch thread, just so I could hook this up to my mic stand, because the Zoom H1, it only has a tripod mount stand in it, and so I was looking around and I could only find one guy selling this adapter bolt for like $12 posted. $12 for a bolt. Are you kidding me? Like $12. This guy wanted $12 just for a little bolt. So anyway, I went down to my local hardware store and I got I got a 3/8 of an inch bolt, and then I got a 1/4 of an inch thread, super glued it, and then soldered it together, and it costed me 12 cents. I'll repeat that, 12 cents. So I had to get this off my chest, because it's like anyone else who wants to make one of these bolts, just do it yourself, and you'll save $10. So I just thought it was a rip-off. I mean, if the bolt was like $3, I could understand. Maybe even $5 posted, I could understand. But $12, like, come on, Jesus. There's only a limit to how much I can get fleeced. So anyway, that's about it from me, guys. I will be coming back to you guys with tech talk very soon. I just wanted to sort of test this microphone out, make sure it sounded good. Also, talk about that topic of graphics cards, which a lot of people have been asking me lately. And I hope you enjoyed this commentary. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll go out to you as soon as I can. And in the meantime, in the description below, I'll put these recommendations that I've talked about in the commentary as well, so you don't miss out on it. And yeah, I'm just playing a bit of Dr. Repulsor on Heroes of New Earth, and it is a fun game. I've actually got to compare this game to Dota 2. Honestly, I like both games. I just prefer Heroes of New Earth due to some things. that I'd like to, I'd like to have a discussion about it, because ultimately, I mean, Dota 2 has a huge player base, and I think they get a lot of things right that Heroes and New Earth doesn't. But yeah, it's something that I want to talk about. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary, and yeah, peace out for now. Bye.